It feels so nice. It's like I have ice packs over my eyes. Get it? Ice pack? Ha! Got him! Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy Koi. Be sure to like, comment down below, and smash that subscribe button to see more of my content. Another year has passed, and yet I'm still behind in life. I feel like this is something that a lot of people would say at this exact moment. As soon as the hour hand of the clock strikes midnight, suddenly people just have the urge to feel this way about their life. Another year has passed, and just look at me, I'm just painfully mediocre. Look at me, I'm not a billionaire yet. I don't have a Lamborghini, I don't have a six-figure income, I don't have a six-pack, I don't have a smoking hot girlfriend or wife. You know, I don't have any of these things. I don't have a house, I'm not a landlord yet. And just look at all of these people around me. I'm left behind. I gotta keep up with the Joneses. Do you feel the same way every single year? Because if you do, you're not alone. I also feel the same way. I've said the exact same thing for many years. Another year has passed, and yet I'm still behind in life. I don't know what it is, but when the Earth makes a full, complete trip around the sun, roughly in 365 days, people just feel the same freaking thing over again. What am I doing with my life? You're not alone in that aspect. In my line of work, when we try to ascertain whether someone is with it or not, we ask them these bullshit questions. So what's your name? What's your date of birth? Do you know where you are right now? What building is this? Who's the Prime Minister of Australia? You know? No, we probably don't ask that question because some people don't actually know. I don't know. I actually don't know. I need to look it up right now. But I think the most important question is, what time is it? What day of the week is it? What year are we living in? And it is like the most telltale sign of whether someone is alert and orientated or not. You ask them this question. And I know it's tricky in, you know, the acute healthcare setting because all four walls of the hospital sometimes is this uniform gray, white, sterile color. And there's very little outside light to let people know inside this box that, you know, the seasons are changing, the sun is at this location on the sky at this time of the day. You just don't get that feedback. And no matter how much my patients look around the room, some of them, you know, they've been inside hospital for how long now? Months. Very long time. Anything more than a week to me is a very freaking long time to be in hospital. And you start to lose a little bit of that orientation. And as they look around, trying to find some clues to ground them to this shared reality that we all have, they fail because they can't see the sun, they don't see the outside world, they don't know what day it is. And I'm not just talking about patients, I'm talking about healthcare workers as well. Sometimes these people, they work overtime. I don't know, is it out of necessity or passion or whatever it is? But they seem to lose track of time. And I think that is the biggest pitfall that people can fall into, you know, losing this sense of time. When they work too much, when night becomes day, when day becomes night, when days blur in together, you know, this shift blurs into the next shift, double overtime, you know, you don't know what day it is, and it's destructive to your psyche and personal identity. I really think so. So even though sometimes these questions might seem silly, like I said, when I said that sometimes we ask patients these stupid questions, it highlights, I think, the most important aspect of the living experience. That when you are oriented to time, it gives you some sort of comfort and control over this inherently meaningless, absurd life and experience. Being oriented to time is so comforting. Yesterday, after I got home from work at 10 p.m., I stayed up until midnight to celebrate New Year with my boy Ryan. And when I got home, I stayed up until 2 a.m. because in Vietnam, that's 10 p.m. That's when my girlfriend got home and we got to spend the New Year together. But that means I end up staying until 4 a.m. here in Tasmania because that's midnight in Vietnam. And I did not regret it, even though I'm really super tired this morning. You can probably tell from my voice and my mannerism and, like the way I act. I'm super freaking tired. Totally worth it. Because in those 2 hours that I spent talking to my girlfriend, we just... we talked about many things. But the thing that really stuck out to me was me going through her entire photo album on her social media, just looking at all her photos, looking at all her posts from most recent to the oldest. And I can't believe she has kept all of those posts up there ever since she was, I don't know, probably something like 12. And yeah, it's fascinating to see this timeline because it gives me almost like a synopsis or a complete story of a person's story. Granted, you will never be able to record down every moment of your life, and I don't think it's something you should do. You should actually live your life instead of sitting down and recording everything. But what I'm trying to say here is that being connected to time, to be oriented to time, to see this continuity of time, it's so grounding, it's so satisfying, it's so nostalgic, it's so comforting to see this progression taking place. See the kind of person that you were 10 years ago up until this point. You see little changes, or if you haven't changed at all, you see the continuation of this story, and it just reinforces your identity. When people are oriented to place, time, and person, it's comforting to them. But I see a lot of my patients when they are delirious, when they just came out of surgery, when they're under a lot of general anesthesia, they are completely disoriented to time and place and person. You ask them where they are at right now, and they think they're in 1976. You ask them who are they, and they gave you the person that they were 20 years ago, and you can see how that does not correlate to the present and how stressful it is for them. It's a lot of anxiety for the person to realize that I'm not in the same time zone as these other people. And I guess in a way, people do feel anxious or feel like they're missing out on life when they use time as a judge to compare their lives to other people. Like I said, every 365 days, people suddenly become depressed and they think, another year has passed and I'm not where I need to be. I'm behind in life. I need to keep up with the Joneses. They use time as a judge rather than a guide. because sure, it can be comforting to see this progression taking place, see the kind of person you're becoming, the person you were in the past, and comparing that to you now. You see this progression taking place. Sure, it can be comforting to have this identity, to know your story, and it just helps ground you to this reality. It helps reinforce your identity. You know who you were in the past, you know who you are in the present, and you probably know who you will be in the future by being oriented to time. But it can also be a source of discomfort and anxiety for a lot of people because they use time as a judge to compare themselves to others rather than looking at their own timeline. They think of another year has passed, and I'm not where I need to be in comparison to my peers. But they don't look at the timeline, their own personal timeline, if you know what I mean. I guess being oriented to time is also a very comforting thing because it gives you a shared structure with the other people in your life. Like I said about my patients, when they are a lot oriented to time, there seems to be less anxiety. I don't know why it is, but just the fact that you share the same life with the other people around you, you're living in the same year, it's comforting, it's less alone. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Like when you're celebrating certain days like Christmas, New Year, and others also think the same way, they're also celebrating the same day, like it feels less alone, like you're going through this life together. As weird as that may sound, because technically you're still living your life, but you're sharing the life, the moment together with other people. You're in the same timeline, you're in the same lifetime. I just want to say, don't use time as a judge. It's just a guide, it's just a shared structure that we all use to ground ourselves to this reality, to make us feel like we are part of this shared consciousness. And I love making these videos because I can look at them later. It's better than writing down my thoughts on a piece of paper because I can actually see my emotions, the way I convey these thoughts better. I can really feel the emotion, and this medium offers more depth than just writing for me personally. And I'm gonna keep making these videos. Like last night, looking back at my girlfriend's photo album, it just brings me so much joy and nostalgia, even though I was not in her life back then, but looking back at those years and thinking about my own childhood, it's comforting to know that we sort of went through this life together in a weird magical way. We're all blending together as like a shared consciousness. Maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself right now. But yeah, that's all I want to give to you guys on this new year, first day of the year. Wherever you are listening from, wherever you're at in life, I wish you all the best. I hope that you are content with wherever you are, and stay strong. God bless. I love you all, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.